Hello everyone and welcome to the sixth and final deal of this month's masterclass. On this one we have a sort of normal looking unbalanced 12 count, so we're going to start by opening our longest suit. Partner's bid 3, no trumps, it's alerted, so just double check, and it shows a fit with a balanced hand. Well, I don't have a balanced hand, I do not want to play 3 no trumps, so I'm going to correct to 4 hearts. Okay, so they've led the Queen of Diamonds, and we have no heart losers. We have 4 club losers. Remember, play the King, then the Jack, then presumably the 6, and then the 4, I guess, at the end. No diamond losers. And 2 spade losers. So it's not looking great. We have 6 losers at the moment. We can only afford to lose 3. So what on earth are we going to do about these? Well, we can think about extra winners, and we have 1 extra winner in the dummy, which is the King of Diamonds. So we could use that to throw away a spade, and that would have us losing only 1 spade. And then we could make a correct guess in clubs, but we still wouldn't be making the contract. We could then rough the 4th round of clubs. But what do we do if there is no correct guess to be made in clubs? We're in a bit of a tricky situation here where we don't really want East to ever win a trick and play a club. That would be a bit of a disaster. So is there any way that we could prevent East from winning a trick? Well, actually yes, and it kind of ends up being a bit like an elimination. So what you can do is you can choose to duck trick 1, because at the moment the safe hand is always on lead, they can't hurt you. And then if they make the scariest possible switch, which is a spade, you can win. You can play the Ace King of Diamonds, throwing 2 spades, and then you can rough spades in your hand until you don't have any left in either hand. You can now draw trumps, and now when you play a club, the hand will be eliminated and they will be forced to either give you a club trick or give you a rough and discard. The only thing we need for that is the trumps 2-2. We can kind of fall back on a guess if they're not. So that seems like a good line, because otherwise we end up potentially having to get run through very early on in spades and clubs. So, duck trick 1. Play another diamond. Fair enough. So we throw a spade. Play another diamond, throwing a spade. And now start working on your spade elimination straight away, because you're really going to run into entry issues if you start trying to half draw trumps and then fall back on eliminating spades. You'll end up in the wrong hand. The other thing is that when you rough the spades, you need to do it high, because you need to be bringing yourself back to the dummy in hearts all the time. And you don't want to get blocked into the wrong hand. You can play another spade, rough high. Cross back in trumps, which draws around. Play a spade, rough high. Heart back. And the trumps were 2-2, so that's good news. Now we play a club, and if we make a correct guess now, then we're fine anyway. But even if we don't, and the queen wins, like today, West is either forced to play a spade, in which case we could throw a club away from the dummy and rough in our hand, or they get forced to play a diamond, in which case we can do the same thing, or they play clubs for us like they're doing now. And our king is just a winner. So this hand is really, really hard because you really have to foresee the problems before they happen. If you naively win the ace of diamonds, you discard one spade, you draw trumps, say finishing in the dummy, and then you play a club to your hand. Yes, West wins and they can't play clubs again, but they can play spades. And they can knock out your ace of spades. And now playing another club won't work. And you can't afford to play another spade because then East can win and play another club through. So you end up being pretty stuffed. So it actually works better to play for this elimination. It's quite interesting. There's another element in here as well called a dummy reversal. So you notice first of all we were counting our losers from the base hand, but then when we were given from the south hand as our base hand, but then when we were given the chance for a rough and discard later potentially, we were discussing throwing a club from the dummy and not from the base hand. And that was because we'd actually shortened our trumps in the base hand so much that it had become the short hand. So plays like that called dummy reversals are a bit complicated and they don't come up all that often, but that was what happened today. Thank you very much for watching this masterclass. I hope it's been useful to put everything together that you've learned through the year, because it's very hard when you learn these topics separately and then you don't really know which ones to apply when you get to the table. Hopefully this goes some way towards explaining how to fit everything together. Thank you very much from me. It's been a pleasure to guide you through this lovely year of masterclasses and Clariplay, and yeah, have a lovely Christmas and New Year. Take care, everyone. Bye.